Ahoy there, me hearties! This be Captain Silver Hook, and you're listening to the Two Old Pirates podcast. Set sail for an open sea of stories, tales, and some really crazy stuff. I expect you to like and subscribe, lest you be walking the plank. Ha ha ha!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to podcast 71 of the Two Old Pirates. I'm Eric, and I'm coming to you again with another 100% true story, although this one is a bit of a tragedy. Please stay through to the entire end to hear about what happens at the end of the story that kind of has a unbelievable twist. All right, so as you've seen in the past, if you've been watching us for a while, I talk sometimes about my old hometown of Rockport that I still live very close to. But growing up in Rockport, being such a small town, there wasn't a whole lot to do. And we had Cinema 35, which I mentioned on episode, I believe, 69. It played one movie a week, new movie on Friday till the following Thursday. Just a little small hometown movie. Well, it was right on Highway 35, that's why it was called Cinema 35. And by being right on the highway, they had steps that went up, as you'll be able to see in the picture. They had steps that went up to where you could open up the front door to walk right in. And the ticket counter was directly right there to your left when you walked in. And that's where they sold the popcorn and the drinks and stuff like that. So when you walked in, there was always a line coming out down the steps, and then it would usually hook back to the left. And it would go that way into the parking lot to where it would be safe for everybody to be there. Well, sometimes when a huge movie would come out, like Return of the Jedi or one of the Raiders of the Lost Arks movie or something like that, a huge E.T. or something like that, when there's a huge movie, people would go across the street, which directly across the street was the local Sonic. And so, you could go over there and push the button and order yourself a Coke or Dr. Pepper or an ice cream or something because you knew you were waiting in line and you had somebody to wait for you. Now, granted, that was a highway that you're crossing. And the highway speed limit there was 35, 40, 45, something like that. But the thing is, cars were going to be coming on that road. So you had to be extra careful whenever you're going to go ahead and cross the street. But people did it all the time. And so the showings would be at night. So, you'd show up for 7 o'clock movie, 8 o'clock movie, 9 o'clock movie, whatever. And of course, if you got thirsty, you would just simply look both ways and run across the street. And you'd place your order. People did this for years. One night, a woman happened to go out to the movies with her children. And she was waiting in line, and something, I guess, maybe the kids wanted it, maybe she wanted it, but she decided to go ahead and go across to the Sonic. And so she ran across and she placed her order. Well, of course, people are still waiting in line, trying to go ahead and get in and stuff. And she placed her order, and I was not there that night. I do want to preface it by saying I was not there. This just is information that people in the town knew. So this is early 80s. And she came back running across the road, and I guess maybe a car was coming that she didn't see. I don't know what happened, but I do know that she was hit. And it caused severe damage. And so she was more than likely not going to make it. There was no 911 in Rockport, so you just called the police. A phone call was placed. Ambulances were going to arrive. They reached out to a local doctor, and the doctor made his way there. They, of course, had police cars and ambulances and different things like that blocking the road. And this woman was going to be treated right there on the road to try to stabilize her so that maybe she could make it to the hospital that was in Aransas Pass. The doctor arrived, was working on her, tried to go ahead and get her stabilized so that they could move her. There was no Halo flight or anything like that. Small Texas town. Worked on her for a bit. She was going to pass away. There was nothing that the paramedics or the police or bystanders or even the doctor could do to save her. The injuries were massive. when you have a car hitting a human body at 40 or 45 miles an hour, it's going to be detrimental. And so they called it. She had passed. She is deceased. What he soon found out afterwards was that was his wife. He had not gone to the movies that night. I guess he was on call or whatever. But there was no hospitals around besides Aransas. So I believe he was just a general practitioner. And I don't want to say any names because I believe I know who the doctor was. But what happened was she was hit by a car going back between the Sonic and Cinema 35, and she died at the scene, and her husband was there to perform life-saving measures, and he didn't realize it was his own wife that he was working on. That's how badly she was damaged from the vehicle, the accident. Goes to show you, you just never know what's going to happen in this life, but to do the one thing that you know and be trying to save this individual without the stress of knowing it's a loved one is stressful enough. So I just remember people talking about it years afterwards saying, could he have been able to do the same type of job knowing it was his wife? And that is a situation, man, that nobody really ever wants to be in. But he did his best, and of course it was not going to help the situation with the amount of damage that had been done. And she passed. But that's a true story from my hometown of Rockport, Texas, of a lady who she was the one out of the probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that had crossed back and forth to go get a drink or something, or go use the restroom at Sonic, or order some tater tots or something. She was the one that was hit. And just a weird set of circumstances, the person who tried to save her life was her husband, the doctor, who showed up on scene. And that's a true story. I thought I'd pump out a episode for you guys. It's Sunday night, and I hope that you enjoyed this little tidbit of my hometown. If you guys have any ideas that you'd like me to go ahead and cover, let us know. We'll go ahead and cover whatever you guys want to cover. I hope that you enjoy this. I hope that you guys will share. And please, please, please subscribe. We're almost at 600 subscribers. Love you. This is Eric.